Hello, Targar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Orc Mode workout. And today was Dynamic Effort Bench Press Day. Everything went pretty good. Some of my accessory work, I did some minor PRs. And when I say minor, I added some microplates, right? Means 1.25 pounds to each side. But, you know, that counts. That's progress. Also, again, this is second week in the wave with actual real band tension, like heavy band tension for dynamic work and doing the whole 5x5 thing. Honestly, it feels pretty good. I like it. I'm enjoying it. I think it's going to work pretty well, and overall happy with it. And I just did a video on that the other day in my conjugate training playlist, just discussing the concepts behind it. So hopefully people understand what's going on there. And again, working pretty well. And for those curious, look, I've got 185 on the bar, right? 185. And at this point, guys, it really shouldn't be that hard to figure out what I've got for weights. Blues are 45s, the bar is 45, greens are 25, reds are 55, whites and blacks are 10, so on and so forth. As far as the bands go, when they're pulled this way that I have them long ways, the two reds on each side, that's 30 pounds. Blues are 50 pounds, so that's 80 pounds of band tension, right? 80 pounds of band tension at lockout and 185 pounds for speed work, right? And we're all working off percentages, and I've done a whole video explaining the percentages and the wave loading for this already in the conjugate training. So again, hopefully people understand that. Hopefully they do. And again, today it's more focused on accessory work than anything, accessory and assistance work, because that's kind of the way my bench days are going. I do my regular bench programming, so my max work and my dynamic work on those 2 days, and then I come in and do a lot of extra just training volume. But it's all within my maximum effective volume, and at this point I'm taking both assistance and accessory work very, very seriously for the bench press, because I know I have weaknesses in my upper body I need to bring up. I need to thicken certain things up to improve my bench press, and so there's a good focus on that. But at this point, I'm trying to even pick optimal volumes and tensions and everything for accessory movements. Because it's got to make it happen, right? We got to make it happen. And again, this is an enjoyable way to train. It's a good system once you have a base built. I wouldn't recommend that people start out this way, right? Your first year of training, don't do training like this. You need to build a base. Just do 5 or 6 basic lifts. Get really strong at them before you go on to anything more advanced, guys. You have to remember that. And when you go into stuff like this, you better know what you're doing. Better know what you're doing, and especially the fact because you don't get a lot of technical work on your primary lifts, you need to understand that this is largely this system of training. You have to come in and do a little bit of specific training later, but it's generally around just developing maximum strength through every angle possible and learning to grind and varying those techniques and bar paths all the time, combined with speed strength training and then large amounts of accessory and assistance work to thicken you up. And if you remove any leg of this training, it doesn't work. And that's the thing that people need to remember. A lot of times you see people who do this, including even when I've messed with it in the past, I've come back and said, oh, this doesn't work for raw lifters, right? Well, usually it's because people aren't pushing the assistance exercises as hard as they should. That's usually the reason for the failure. They pick the wrong ones, and they don't really come in and hammer them. They treat them as an afterthought because they're thinking this is a lower volume way of training. Well, this is my 4th day of the week, and this doesn't show the smaller stuff I do off camera. We start looking at work sets. This is a lot of work sets, guys. Now, I cut it a little short on 2 of the movements today, but a lot of times this is 20 total work sets. If I do everything, and that's not counting face pulls, abs, all that other stuff off camera, 20 work sets. And that's not counting the curls. That's not counting curls. So today it was 19 work sets, not counting any sort of bicep or back or anything like that. Because what, 5 sets of speed bench, 5 sets of pause incline, 5 sets of skull crushers, 5 sets of laterals. Today was only 4 because I'm using a new form and I'm trying to get used to it, not get too sore, so I'm adding sets till I get to 5. For just chest, shoulders, and triceps, that's a lot of volume. Because 2 of those are big compound movements and then 2 smaller movements, that's 20 sets. The same thing's done on max effort day. So, I mean, this is not a low volume system of training by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, we're getting into the rep ranges, it's not necessarily rep ranges, but total volume that is recommended even for a lot of bodybuilders. For bodybuilders who aren't blasting a bunch of gear. But we have max effort work and everything else worked into it. So this is not low volume training, guys. Not low volume training. But today we did add, if you guys look close, I've added microplates. We went up another 2.5 pounds on this incline work. Now we're focused on really getting strong on the pause incline, right? I know that the incline bench is a weak link for me on my bench press, so I'm hammering it. I'm going to get as strong as possible at it. And then again, the skull crushers. Interestingly enough, I'm picking variations for both assistance and accessory work where I really feel the muscles being hit, and not because I'm doing slow mind muscle connection, but even lifting explosively, I'm really feeling those target muscles get lit up, and that's good. I'm trying to be very selective in these exercises. I feel my chest tremendously and my front delts on the incline bench, especially with the pause. Well, that's what I need. I'm using it to thicken my chest up and improve that particular bar path on my bench, because I feel like that carries over to where my bench is weakest. It's because the bar shifts forward right at that certain point, right? It has that forward shift, usually when you're an advanced lifter, and for me, that's where my bench breaks down, when it shifts towards the incline, going towards the face in that normal concentric movement pattern, which is part of the actual bar path for a raw bench as you get more advanced. So again, the incline bench will carry over to that, thicken my chest up. It's some extra work for my delts and triceps. And then I come in and I hit my triceps with, again, a fairly explosive exercise. It's easy to recover from, that I feel through my whole tricep. And usually by about my third set of these, my triceps are lit up. And again, we don't need to do a lot of different exercises. You pick one really good exercise that targets your weak areas and you come in and hammer it. As in my case, I do 10 sets of this every week, right? 5 sets of 10 using progressive overload and using near limit sets. I'm within 1 rep of failure and trying to progress on it, right? So 5 sets twice a week. Just come in and beat up your weakness, hammer your weakness, get really strong at that accessory movement. And when you stall on it and it gets weak and you need something else, and move over to something else. But you don't need a lot of variation. You just need to do a lot of volume and get strong and build a work capacity and work base on one good exercise. And that's really all you need, because again, it is just about getting that extra work in where you need it the most. So the other thing I kind of want to bring up here, a lot of people will come in and they'll be critical of the fact, oh man, why do you talk about other people? It's like, you know what? I have a right to talk about other people. I'm the only person on YouTube Fitness that I know of who literally documents all their workouts. Like every single major work set I do, barring a little bit of my small stuff, my abs and a little hamstring work and things like that, right, is done on camera. All my real work sets are done on camera every single week. In short shorts, in jogging shorts, even when I don't look great, with calibrated plates, like name brand calibrated plates. All right, no one else is doing this. I'm easily the most transparent person in YouTube Fitness. And people can deny that all that they want. But here's the reality of it. Look through my training playlist. All my training is up here. There's no trickery. There's no bullshit. It's just all there. And you know what? That's just how I'm going to do it. That's how I enjoy doing it. We are keeping it real. And again, I've got my training dialed in. I'm happy with it. I feel like it's making good progress. It's an enjoyable style of training. I'm in my flow. And I'm just going to keep progressing with it. And yes, it's going to be slow. People are like, well, your progress is going to be slow with what you're doing. Of course it is, because I'm not going to gain weight. On a keto diet, I'm staying at the same body weight recomping as an advanced lifter. Yeah, it's going to go slow. But you know what? You guys understand that when you already have the strength base that I have, that if you make slow progress continually, that you get pretty brutally strong eventually. Right? You get pretty brutally strong eventually. Because slow progress over months and months and years turns into some pretty big numbers. Especially when you already have a base built to where you're already stronger than most people out there lifting, the average lifter, right? It's fine. I don't care if it's slow. Progress is progress. As long as I'm getting PRs. As long as I'm adding a microplate here or there. As long as I'm adding a rep here or there. And if I'm not adding a rep here or there, or I'm not getting stronger, then we adjust it to make sure that we do. Because it's not always going to work. Not every exercise that I pick is going to work and give me the benefit I want. I'm trying to be selective with it, and if it works, that's great. If it doesn't work, discard it. How's that for people accusing me of being dogmatic all the time? Pick things that look like they should work. Work them into your training. If they work, continue to do them. If they don't work, then discard them. Make reasonable, educated selections. All right, how's that for dogmatic? Then we did the strict curls. And that's come up too. Some people had said, well, I don't know, you're not doing that much weight. It's like, you do it with a strict curl. That's fine. I don't care. You come over and do sets of 10. Because some of the people I've seen already who've tried to put up their strict curls, I'm not going to name names, they weren't strict curls. They didn't maintain contact with the wall. All right, that doesn't count. That's not a strict curl. Strict curl, your head, back, and butt have to stay in contact with the pole or pad behind you. You cannot break it. And that's the whole point. But I did 2 sets of these and I was getting tired. I was like, I don't want to do 5 sets today. It's Friday. So I think my third set, I'm like, let me add some weight up and just go for an AMRAP set with a heavier weight instead of my normal work weights and get some good tension in, maybe gain some strength and call it a day. Because again, I just felt like a certain fatigue in my arms from the roads yesterday. And so 3 really good quality sets, particularly 1 set to failure on the last one. I feel like that's enough for the week. Again, also have to deal with the fact that I do get a little bit of bicep tendonitis if I'm not careful. And so I'm like 1 good, nice, heavy set. And I managed to get 8. I got 8 reps. And we'll go back into our normal rotation next week. Go back to the 5 sets of 10. But I just want to do 1 good AMRAP set, take it to failure, and then call it a week, which is good. I'm happy with this week's training. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.